Most men believe a relationship ends with a scream, an affair, a massive glass-shattering fight where years of resentment finally boil over in a single night of wreckage. They think of love as a fortress, something that only falls if a catastrophic bomb is planted in the basement. They believe that as long as they are providing, as long as they aren't cheating, and as long as they are physically present in the house, the fortress is secure. But they are wrong. In the United States, nearly 70% of divorces are initiated by women. This isn't just a statistic, it's a biological and sociological pattern. And if you ask the men involved in those breakups, they almost always use the same phrase: "It came out of nowhere." They describe a Tuesday that felt like any other Tuesday until she sat them down and said the words that haunt every man: "I'm not in love with you anymore." But love doesn't die in a day. It doesn't evaporate overnight. Love is a living, breathing, biological entity, and like any living thing, it can die of starvation. This is what psychologists call the slow fade. Imagine a grand oak tree. From the outside, the leaves are green, the trunk looks solid, but deep inside the root system, a fungus has been spreading for 3 years. Every day, the tree loses a microscopic percentage of its ability to pull water from the earth. You don't see the leaves turn brown for a long time. You don't see the branches go brittle. You just see the day the wind blows slightly harder than usual, and the entire giant crashes into the dirt. Today, we are performing a psychological autopsy on those roots. We are looking at why she stops noticing you, because you stopped noticing her. We're going to explore the biology of why a woman's brain detaches, the bids you've been failing for years, and the exact moment her love switch flips to permanent off. By the time she says, "I need space," she has already been gone for 6 months. She has already processed the funeral of your marriage. You're just now arriving at the wake. If you want to understand the silence in your house, or if you want to make sure that silence never starts, pay attention, because once the switch flips, there is no amount of flowers or jewelry in the world that can turn it back on. Act 1. The bid and the neurology of neglect. To understand the why, we have to look at the work of Dr. John Gottman. For 40 years, Gottman sat couples in what he called the love lab. He discovered that the health of a relationship isn't decided by the big vacations or the expensive dinners. It's decided by something he calls the bid for connection. A bid is any attempt from one partner to get the other partner's attention, affirmation, or affection. It can be as small as a sigh. It can be as subtle as her saying, "Did you see that post about the old bookstore closing down?" When she says that, she isn't interested in the bookstore. She's asking a fundamental psychological question. Are you here with me? Do I matter to you right now? Gottman found that in couples who stayed together, the masters of marriage, the partners turned toward these bids 86% of the time. In couples who eventually divorced, they only turned toward each other 33% of the time. Let's look at our case study, Leo and Maya. They've been together for 3 years. To the neighbors, they're perfect. But watch closely. They're sitting in their living room. Maya is reading. Leo is scrolling. Maya looks up and shares a small thought. Leo doesn't look up. He grunts a one-word answer. In Leo's mind, he participated. He answered. But in the reality of the human brain, Leo just failed a bid. He turned away. Every time Leo ignores a bid, a tiny drop of oxytocin, the endocrine chemical of bonding, leaks out of Maya's system. Think of it like a bank account. In the beginning, your account was overflowing. You were in love. Your brains were drowning in dopamine, the chemical of pursuit, and oxytocin, the chemical of the glue. But then, life happened. You got the girl, you got the routine, and slowly, you stopped being a detective of her soul. You started taking the deposits for granted. You started giving her the leftover version of yourself, the tired, distracted, uninspired version, while giving your best energy to your job or your screen. She didn't leave because of the one time you forgot her birthday. She left because of the 10,000 times she reached out for a small moment of connection, and you weren't there to catch it. In the female brain, oxytocin is the primary driver of trust. When the supply drops, the brain's alarm system, the amygdala, starts to wake up. She begins to feel unsafe, not physically, but emotionally. She begins to feel alone in your presence. Act 2. The walk-away wife and the peaceful silence. This brings us to the most dangerous phase, the peaceful silence. Many men think that if their wife isn't complaining or nagging, everything is okay. They think, finally, she's chilled out. We're finally over that rocky patch. They couldn't be more wrong. In psychology, we call this emotional detachment. A woman only complains when she still believes the relationship can be fixed. She nags because she's still invested enough to want change. The nagging is actually a loud, desperate bid for connection. It's her saying, please see me, please help me fix this. When she stops complaining, it isn't because she's happy, it's because she's given up. She has realized that the return on investment for her emotional energy is zero. To stop the pain of disappointment, her brain simply stops needing you. She enters the walk-away wife syndrome. This is a biological survival mechanism. Her brain begins to rewire itself to live without you. She starts building a life in her mind that doesn't include your input. She starts making more plans with her friends. She focuses on her own hobbies. She becomes incredibly easygoing because she no longer cares what you do. While you're enjoying the peace, she is performing a slow-motion divorce. Let's talk about the biological point of no return, negative sentiment override. This is where the switch flips. In a healthy relationship, your partner has a positive buffer. If you're late for dinner, she thinks, oh, he must be stuck in traffic. But once the emotional bank account hits zero, the buffer vanishes. Now her brain becomes a lawyer for the prosecution. If you're late, she thinks, he doesn't respect my time. He never has. Every deposit you try to make now is viewed with suspicion. If you bring home flowers during negative sentiment override, she thinks, what did he do wrong? Is he trying to bribe me? This is accompanied by a biological shutdown. For women, intimacy is tied to the parasympathetic nervous system. When she feels unseen, her body goes into a chronic freeze state. She might still be in the room, but her nervous system has already checked out. She is no longer producing oxytocin in response to your touch. In fact, your touch might start to make her skin crawl. Act 3. The Tuesday morning revelation. There is a specific day, a Tuesday, a random morning. Maya is brushing her teeth, and she looks at Leo in the mirror, and suddenly she feels nothing. Not anger, not sadness, not even resentment, just nothing. The switch has flipped. She has finished grieving the relationship while still living in the house. This is why women seem so cold during a breakup. They aren't cold, they just finished their crying 6 months ago while you were asleep in the next room. They have already imagined their new apartment. They have already told their best friend. They're just waiting for the logistics, the finances, the kids to align. In the United States, we live in a culture of disposable convenience. We are taught that if something is broken, we should just get a new one. But the human heart doesn't work that way. The heart is like a garden. If you stop watering it, the plants don't die instantly. They wilt, they turn gray, they stop blooming. But by the time the ground is cracked and the plants are brown, you can't just pour 1 bucket of water on it and expect a harvest by evening. The tragedy of Leo and Maya is that Leo was a good guy. He worked hard. He was faithful. He thought that was enough. But he forgot that a woman doesn't want a provider who is a ghost. She wants a witness. She wants a partner who is the detective of her soul. Someone who noticed when her mood shifts. Someone who knows her favorite coffee order. Someone who treats her like a mystery to be solved rather than a chore to be completed. Act 4. The protocol of repair. So, is it too late? If she's still in the house and she's still talking, even if it's just about the weather, there's a window. But you have to understand, flowers won't fix it. A vacation won't fix it. Jewelry won't fix it. These are macro solutions for a... Act 5. The ghost in the house. The identity erasure. There is a final, darker stage of the slow fade that most men never discuss because they don't even realize it's happening. It's called identity erasure. In the beginning of your relationship, you didn't just love her, you celebrated her. You knew her favorite obscure band. You knew why she loved that specific type of poetry. You knew the dreams she had before she met you. The ones about starting a business, traveling to Kyoto, or finally finishing that painting in the garage. But as the years of the slow fade progress, a subtle, soul-crushing shift occurs. You stop seeing her as an individual with her own internal universe, and you start seeing her as a function. She becomes the wife, the mother, the person who manages the grocery list, the person who makes sure the bills are paid. In the United States, this is a silent epidemic. A woman wakes up at 35 or 45 and realizes that the man she sleeps next to doesn't actually know who she is anymore. He knows what she does for him, but he has lost sight of who she is without him. When a woman feels like her identity has been erased by the routine of your life, she begins to feel a profound sense of claustrophobia. She starts to feel that to find herself again, she has to leave you. This is why so many breakups involve the phrase, "I just need to find out who I am." It's not a cliché, it's a cry for help. It means you stopped being the mirror that reflected her best self back to her. You became a wall that she's been staring at for a decade. If you want to stop the fade, you have to stop treating her like a permanent fixture of your furniture and start treating her like a stranger you are desperate to get to know. You have to realize that the woman sitting across from you at dinner tonight is not the same woman you married 10 years ago. She has evolved. She has new fears, new dreams, new scars. If you aren't curious about those changes, you aren't in a relationship with her. You're in a relationship with a memory. And you cannot sustain a future on a memory. The only thing that fixes a slow fade is consistent witnessing. If you want to rebuild the emotional bank account, you need a tactical plan. These aren't grand romantic gestures. These are the micro deposits that save lives. I'll give you 7 steps of consistent witnessing, and don't miss number 6 because it's the icing on the cake. Step 1. The 3-second rule. When she speaks to you, stop what you are doing. Put the phone face down. Turn your physical body toward her. Look her in the eyes for 3 seconds before you say a single word. Let her see that you are present. In those 3 seconds, her nervous system moves from defense to connection. Step 2. Catch the bids. Listen for the birds. When she mentions something small, a dream she had, a coworker who annoyed her, a bookstore closing, treat it like it's the most important news of the day. Ask the follow-up question. Show her that her world matters to you. Step 3. Own the mental load. Stop asking, "What can I do to help?" This puts the burden of management on her. Instead, start noticing. Notice that the fridge is empty. Notice that the kid's shoes are too small. Notice that she's stressed and take a task off her plate before she has to ask. 4. The "I noticed" statement, the affirmation rule. Once a day, tell her something specific you noticed about her that has nothing to do with what she did for you. "I noticed how much passion you put into that project today." Or, "I noticed you've been really patient with your mom lately." It proves you are still the detective of her soul. 5. The digital blackout, the sacred space rule. Establish a phone-free zone. Maybe it's the dinner table or the 30 minutes before bed. In the US, the smartphone is the #1 killer of intimacy. By putting the phone in another room, you are telling her your reality is more interesting to me than the entire internet. 6. The internal map update, the curiosity rule. Ask a level 2 question once a week. Not "How was work?" but "What's something you've been thinking about lately that you haven't told me yet?" Or "What's one thing you're looking forward to this month?" Keep her love map updated in your brain. 7. The physical anchor, the non-sexual touch rule. In a fading relationship, touch often becomes a transaction leading to sex. To fix this, use the physical anchor. A 20-second hug, a hand on the small of her back while you're both in the kitchen, a squeeze of the hand while driving. This floods her system with oxytocin without the pressure of performance. It rebuilds the safe perimeter. Most men lose their women because they stopped being the detective of her soul. They got the prize and stopped playing the game. Don't let the silence fool you. If it's quiet, start paying attention. Because love doesn't die in a fire, it dies in the cold. And the only thing that can warm it back up is the one thing you've been holding back, your attention. You didn't lose her because you were a bad man. You lost her because you were absent man. She didn't stop loving you because she found someone else. She stopped loving you because she couldn't find you anymore. Don't wait for the glass to shatter. Move it back from the edge while you still can. If you're watching this and you feel that knot in your stomach, that's your intuition. That's your brain telling you that you're in the silence phase right now. Fix what you still have before it becomes something you wish you didn't lose. Subscribe for more deep dives into the psychology of connection. Don't lose her because you weren't looking. See you in the next one.